Sorry about the volume on that thing. It's a little loud, I think. Maybe I should tone it down a little bit. But anyway, greetings, everybody. Welcome back to our second official Writing Done Right live stream. I'm going to do a little bit more of these as I'm working on finalizing and developing some books as we go through. And today we just want to have, we'll probably spend just a few minutes looking at the formatting of the book. We want to kind of talk a little bit about research, how you can figure out the pricing of your book and things like that. And I did actually try a live stream on this channel. I think it was 2 weeks ago. That was the day the furnace broke. I'm like, I didn't know exactly when the guy was going to get here to fix it. And so I started it, and like 2 minutes into it, he shows up. I'm like, you know what? Let's just cancel for the day. But yeah, and I will be doing a show on Switch to Linux tonight as well. That is the weekly news roundup. Let me try and fix my hair a little bit. It's getting so unruly. I'm thinking I might have to go find me a black market hair cutting place here tomorrow if I don't. Oh man, it's getting so long and horrible. I was thinking about just growing a mullet, and then I'm like, no, the 90s died. So anyway, how is everybody here today? All right, well, we're going to be looking at some typesetting and things like that. We got Nemgin Boy. How's it going there? Yes, Jimmy the Noob prefers LibreOffice as well. I love LibreOffice too. There's a lot of other ones. I think what I should probably do is dive a little bit into some of the other free Office softwares as well and see what can they do. How is CJ? He is doing good. He just doesn't show up on the live streams as much because I gave him a bed by the window, and he's just like chills over there all the time. But yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and dive a little bit on into here. Since this is a very small channel, we don't have the large numbers of people that we do on my other channel, so there's not a lot of discussion. So let's go ahead and just kind of dive on in. So right now, of course, we're working on getting the Synaptergy book ready to go. It is now the 1st, and I would like to launch this guy by about the 12th. I'll at least start doing pre-orders by then, if not have the whole book available. So today we want to kind of narrow down what the pricing should be set at. We want to look at... I want to show you guys the style manuals, the file creation guides, and we'll look at the ones from Ingram Spark. Usually, no matter where you're doing your books, the printers are all the same that they do the books on, and so it doesn't really matter which one you're using. And then we'll go on to Amazon, just poke around a little bit at the science fiction section, see about what a good pricing should be, and just kind of make a few decisions about that. So I did pull up the title guide from Ingram. So this is actually just recently updated just a couple months ago, and they have the basic information, fonts, submission notes, non-supported programs, template cover generator stuff. We actually covered how to use the template cover generator, and we will do that again, maybe stream next week as we have the page count pretty much narrowed down by next week. And what is next week's actual date? Next week's actual date is the 8th. So I'd actually have to say that probably by next weekend, I should have all of the final edits in, all the final drafts in, and the book cover design done. So maybe next week, next Friday, we'll actually do another live stream where we'll be doing the final book cover work. Why not, right? And so we can do that. So that gives me about a week to finalize things. Of course, the challenge is I'm only on page 8 or chapter 8 or 9 out of 29 on the audiobook. Audiobook is not hitting the date. I'm pretty confident on saying that right now, unless I forego the rest of my schedule for the next week just to focus exclusively on the audiobook. And I don't know if I have the capability of doing that. Audiobook does not particularly sit with me well. All right, we have information about black and white text versus colored text, quick reference guides, and requirements. You know what? I really wish I could. I really wish I remembered where I got this document from. I basically just did a search. If you just do a basic search for file creation guide from Ingram, let's go ahead and give that a try. File creation guide, Ingram Spark. It should show up pretty high on the list. So file creation guide from Ingram Spark. All right, so this is it. If you guys are into writing, that's the guide that you want. It's going to give us some basic things here. I have this guy here as an offline, so we're going to look at the offline one. I think it'll perform a little bit better. We have cover files. We'll kind of cover the cover files a little bit later, creating a PDF for submission, and then, of course, trim sizes and things. So if you're looking at trim sizes, whoa, look at that. Now, what we're doing here is I have a couple books here. So I have some trade paperbacks. Let's go back into full screen here. I have a couple trade paperbacks. Now, trade paperbacks are a little bit smaller in size. Ingram Spark will actually support these smaller sizes. Amazon does not. And the question is, do I want to push things just through Ingram Spark, feed things into Amazon, or do I want to directly self-publish onto Amazon and Ingram Spark simultaneously? Generally, your prices... I have cat hair in my mouth for some reason. Yeah, I was not licking the cat. I don't know why. Anyway, so these are all trade paperbacks. You'll see trade paperbacks a little smaller. Now, Amazon does not do the direct printing of the 4x6. So you can kind of see the size of these guys. You can see that this guy over here is a little bit smaller in the one dimension and about the same in the other dimension. So this is kind of the smallest one I have. I think the rest of them are pretty much the same size. So these would be called trade paperbacks, which unless you're getting millions of books done at the same time, these are all like New York Times best-selling author books. Unless you're doing that, you're not going to go with that particular form factor. So the smallest size that you're going to do on Amazon, which most of your sales for most authors are going to be on Amazon, and Amazon gives you much higher rates if you're selling directly through Amazon versus pushing Ingram Spark into Amazon. So Josiah's Sanctification, this is the smallest form factor that Amazon has on KDP at the time I'm doing the video. So comparatively, you can see it's a little bit bigger than that's kind of the smallest. Let's go with one of these ones. Let's go with this guy so we can actually see a little bit better. Okay, so you can kind of see it sticks out just about, I guess about an inch on this side, and the height also about half an inch. So leading me that this is a 5x8, so this guy would probably be about a 4x7.5. So Amazon doesn't give me this. I could do a 4x7.5 or so, 4.62 by 768, but I don't want to do that because if I use the 5x8 form factor, I can push to Amazon and Ingram Spark, and I'm going to get a lot higher profits on that. And so that's what I'm going to do. So using this form factor. Now I'm using this basic templating, and if you have a look at the font layout's good. I actually make these really easy to read, but I spaced out the font like that so that we had the 100-page minimum I needed for a title binding. If I look at a lot of the other books here, you can kind of see that they definitely are a lot more compact. And so we're actually going to go with the lot more compact text. This one's a little bit bigger font, but still a little bit more compact than we have. And so we're going to be doing that kind of adjustment to our templating files. Okay, there's that one. And our last trade paperback. This guy here is really small. That's kind of the idea that we want to be going for. So keep a few books on hand so you can refer to them as you're doing your typesetting. This is going to give you the page range availability with the various sizes of papers and things like that. Okay, other things that we have inside this guide, if we go back down to our table of contents, we have a quick reference for individual books. So if you have images, 600 PPI, we in graphic design I say DPI there. So PPI for black and white line art, 300 for 8-bit grayscale. If you have any other images, make sure that you are converting them to 8-bit grayscale at 300 PPI. All right, lines per inch. Here's your color spaces, grayscale. Make sure you're doing a PDF. I have heard stories like Amazon tries to make it easy, particularly if you're doing uploads into kind of up into KDP to do, for example, an ebook. there was a good series by self-publishing with Dale where he did a series about what it actually costs to do and produce a book. So what he did is he had somebody design the ebook, but the ebook was designed in a docx file for some reason. And so in theory, if you go to KDP, you can upload a docx file and it will do a conversion. But he said it kind of created a mess. This is why you use Sigil, and we have tutorials on that. Use Sigil to do your your ebooks. And then if you do need to convert it to Mobi, which you don't, you can upload an EPUB to Amazon and it will convert it to a Mobi flawlessly. If you do want the Mobi for testing, Calibri. Calibri will allow you to upload the EPUB and it will spit you out a Mobi file that you need to test that. But for any of your print books, you want a PDF. Don't try and mess with other stuff. They say PDF producers, Acrobat Distiller, export from InDesign, etc. Frankly, hey, I use LibreOffice, export to PDF. Works perfectly. The bleed is how much your space is going to bleed. So the bleed is if you have an image going right up to the edge, how much over could be trimmed or might not be trimmed. We kind of covered that, and that's more significant in your cover design. And then they have information on your page layouts. There's a lot of other fine details, your page counts, and let's see, there's revisions and a few other things like that. So with all that being said, yeah, you want to keep a good idea as to your margins and things. Now, I've already created a series of margins and pages and templates, so I just really recycle those as I'm going along. All right, so what we're going to do here is let's head on over to Amazon and have a look at some books. Con Me Once is actually a book by a local author. This is Wild Rose Press, which I believe is a self-publishing company, I think. Let's see if I can find information on Wild Rose Press. I think it's actually a vanity press. If it is, be careful with using vanity press. They tend to rip you off a little bit more. Let's see what we got. Wild Rose Press. Let's see, publishing options. So there's assisted publishing or comprehensive or a la carte. Let's see, book publishing services, comprehensive, a la carte. So I can't tell. I can't tell if this is a publishing service like I might do, or if this is a vanity type press. So let's see. Choose right for you. Basic, more formatting, copying. So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. So let's go back to that though. So she's listing her paperback as $17.99. Let's see what we have. All right, looks like we're getting the preview of an ebook, not, in fact, I've seen this book before. It is formatted, actually, it's formatted quite nicely. So we're actually seeing an ebook version of that. Not sure I like the cover as much, but it's whatever that is. So she's doing hers at $18. That's pretty high. That is pretty high. Now, your trade paperbacks, they can get pretty cheap, $8 to $10. So if I look at these guys, now of course these guys can mark their prices lower because they're going to make up their price difference in volume. So this is $9, and I don't know if these are purchased recently or not. I got these from the community libraries. This is $9, so like $10, $9.99. $9.99 for Borders books. Didn't they go to business years ago? I don't know. And this one's $7.99. So ultimately, if you're going to be going on the par of your trade paperbacks, $9.99. Now, a self-published author is going to have a lot harder time doing that unless you have a massive following. So this guy here, international bestseller, this guy's at $13.49. So if it's $17.99, we saw a $7.99, but we probably don't want to go that low for sure. A $13.49 sounds decent. $9.89, $7.98. You know what? I want to see if I can find David Stewart. He also has an awesome YouTube channel. It's Stewart, not Stewart. Okay, if I can find, boy, there's a couple authors named David Stewart. See if I can find his particular books. I can't remember the name of Stewart. No. Can't. I wish I would have remembered to pull up his books before we started the stream. I can't remember. He does a really good YouTube channel called Dave Stewart, which he does a lot of story crafting type stuff. I cannot remember what exactly his one books are going to be called. But he does do some things in the science fiction world as well. Let me see if I can find his site again. I think it's DV Press, maybe. Oh, DVS Press, maybe. Yeah, David V. Stewart. There we are. Let's see if I can find David V. Stewart. There you go. Yeah, so this is actually his new book on creativity. So he's doing his, it looks like, this is his book 1, so it's a lost leader, so he publishes it really cheap. So it looks like some of his are up to 12. This guy's $3.99, $4.25. We definitely can't go that low. $13.99. So it looks like about $13 or so is decent for self-publishing for a 50,000 word novel like we have here. I think some of the other ones are a little bit smaller. Let's see if we can get a page count on some of these guys. 0.3, so it's probably only about 150 or so pages would be my guess. Oh, 124. Look at that. I guess pretty good. So 124 pages at that. My guess is then it's going to be, yeah, very nicely formatted. Okay. Yeah, I think we can probably go with probably about a 10 or so, about a 10 to 15 or so. So maybe I'll do like $12.99 is what I'll price mine at. That's kind of, maybe I'll work on that as my running price tag. So if we head on then over to Ingram Spark, again, you can find your pricing calculators, print calculators, things like this. So I'm going to choose my 5x8, which is the size I'm going to do the book in, and then choose your color paper. I generally like cream unless there's a reason not to use it. Then I'll do white. We're doing the paper bound, then gloss versus matte. So gloss is the shinier one, so this is nice and shiny. And this is kind of matte. So matte does not have a shininess to it. So I generally like gloss, again, unless there's a reason not to. My one book, I Am Not Amused, I did the white paper with the matte. Totally different than the rest of my books. Page count. So if I do 300, your page count is going to determine the price of your delivery. So if I do about a 300 page count and I look at a price point of $12.99, then we need to decide a wholesale discount. Now, this is how much discount the bookstore is going to get from ordering your book. So the range that I can do range between 30% and 54%. The higher this percentage is, the better chance a bookstore would be interested in buying your book. Now, if it's a local bookstore, you buy the copies yourself, you give them a higher wholesale discount to sell the book, to incentivize them to sell it. I generally, since I don't anticipate Barnes & Noble is going to be selling my books anyway, I actually set this at the lowest I possibly can, because somebody buys the book one way or the other, they're going to take the 30%. Sure, they're not going to overstock my book, but at the same time, what they are going to do at the same time is they'll definitely buy the book. I'm going to get the most profit if I set this at the lowest number. Your possible ranges are between 30 and 54%. All right, so if I do that, hit my calculate, you can see that my print charge is going to cost me $4.92 to print the book. Okay, so if I do a $12.99 page count at 300 pages, it's going to cost me $4.92 to print it. And minus my 30% wholesale, I'm going to see, and I think Ingram might take a small amount as well, I'm going to see a $4.17 commission out of that. So basically $4.17 is going to the publishing company, and then whatever deal I have worked out with my publishing company, hey, but I own it, I can pay, give me a raise, But anyway, so $4.17 would go to the publishing company each time one of these books sells. Now, if I can drop the page count down to 250 and make that pretty nicely, then what you'll see is my printing charge is going to go down and my compensation is going to go up. So my print fee goes down to $4.29. My publishing compensation goes up. Let's just see what would happen if I did $150. That would mean that my printing fee goes down to $3. My publisher compensation goes up to $6 per book. I'm not going to go down that low. I'm going to say $275 is probably a decent page count for the book. And so, which means that my print fee would be about $4.61, and my compensation is going to be closer to $4.48. So make about $4.50 per book if I do 275 pages. So that's kind of the target where we are going to go with. So, hey, why not? All right. Let's see. We got see you on Switch to Linux. I'll learn PHP bit. All right, man. See you later. Hello, Peter. Greetings there. How are you doing? All right, so let's go ahead and pull up what we have on Synaptergy right now and just kind of do a little bit of typesetting over here. So we've already started this, and what we have here is our basic title page. I'm going to want to put a page before this. So actually, no, this is the first one. Basic title page. Then we have our copyright pages. So I have all my ISBNs already assigned. I already have my Library of Congress control number assigned. Of course, you guys can't see my screen, so let's go ahead and do that. Hey, there we are. So there's your first page. There is our numbers there. And then this guy here is going to be a title. So this is going to be the title of the story again. I might do an image. I might do a picture. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with this one quite yet. I just have a placeholder for it. We have a blank page, and then we are coming back to our basic formatting here. So right now I have 337 pages, but this is very much more condensed. Now there's two things that I might want to do here that I'm going to see out of the bat. You can kind of see in my typesetting up here that the angle brackets up here are kind of show me where my actual page margins are as defined by my page margins. That is actually the minimum that I need for the printing. But what you'll notice is that these paragraphs are actually indented a little bit more. The reason I actually do that in how I have done that is because when I'm doing the nonfiction books and I'll have the titles up here on the one side, the sections on the other side, I'll have page numbers down here. If you offset those from the actual formatting of the text, then it actually looks much better. In this case, I don't need to do that because my page numbers and stuff are all centered in the top. So let's go ahead and fix that. So that is our text body style. So we're going to go ahead and modify our text body style here. You can see my indents are before text and after text. Let's go ahead and drop those to point. Let's just go 0.05. It won't be exactly in line with the margins, but it's going to be a lot closer. Also, it looks as though these guys are in pretty far. Let's bring in the indents just a little bit. Let me see what some of the other books are doing. So these indents are not amazingly that far in. So we'll do something like this, hit apply, and boom, and then it's going to recount, and that actually dropped my page count a little bit, just changing those margins in. All right, so the next thing to do is, do we want to have a space below each paragraph? Generally, the answer is it depends on the style of your book. Let's see what it looks like without. So hit apply. So now everything is all in alignment, so that looks much better. Again, we've now dropped under 300. Now we're at 297. And let's see, the next thing we want to do is our line spacing. Let's see what happens if we just do single line spacing. So this right here brings us quite a bit closer to how your standard book is going to look. And so, hey, much nicer. That also dropped our page count down to 262. So we actually took off, we've already taken off about 75 pages just by changing those margins a little bit. Now this is pretty much in alignment with a lot of other books. All right, next thing is we got this guy here. I probably want to do something different for this. So there's a couple places we can go to find something that we can do for these. Now, maybe we want to, I'm going to see if any of these other books actually have any of those. There used to be a nice place called Open Clip Art that I think is kind of went kafunkies. Let's go ahead and double check though. Open Clip Art. Let's see if it still exists or not. Somebody DDoSed it and took the whole thing down. It was very sad. Hey, it is here. Let's see if we can find section divider. So everything on Open Clip Art are going to be free to use without anything else. So what we can do is if we want to do dividers and things, we can do that. Let's go with, we may or may not find something over here. There you go. There's some nice page dividers. I've used this one before. Let me zoom this page in here a little bit. You guys can see a little bit better. So I have to kind of decide, is there something that's going to look really nice as a section divider? Some things might be a little bit too elaborate. Some things a little bit less elaborate. This isn't bad here. Go ahead and open link a new tab on that one. That one's not too bad. So then what we're going to do is we're going to look at which ones of these we might want to use and then verify that they're going to be the formatting we need, verify that they are truly indeed public domain. I actually had, when I first did my book testing on Temptations, and I was still using a crappy Vanity Press company, when they first gave me the first section dividers, literally looked like somebody took a blob and across the screen. It was so disgustingly bad. I told them, no, we don't really want to do that. All right, let's have a look at we have a couple here. We have a page divider here. So this is a personal use license, so we can't use that one. So I guess we went bust on that one. Okay, personal use. Man, this site used to have pretty much everything for personal, everything was free for commercial use. All right, well, do I don't have that. I think I might have it on my other web browser. Yes. Free images. This guy here will have some dividers. So everything over here is public domain. Again, we're going to verify that, but although it does not actually have as good of section dividers. I might have to hunt around for something. Oh, I wrote divers. Dividers. Hey, let's do dividers. Dividers. Look at that. Fine art dividers. Bunch of politicians. All right, we got that one. We got that one. Okay, this is marked as public domain. That's actually not too bad. Let's view this guy. Copy image. Let's open up GIMP here. paste as new image, and I don't really like that though. Nah, I'm going to look around for a better divider image offline later. All right. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to do on this guy here. I think we're actually pretty much set. I like that formatting. Again, I don't know if I like that formatting quite as much. I'd almost rather have a dot there instead of that guy there, but let's have a look. Okay. All right. So I guess really the last thing to do is just do, we just need to do a title story over here. So let's go ahead and give this guy Synaptergy. Let's go ahead and make it a, we're just going to, over here, we're just going to override styles. Since this is only going to be one place, and I don't want to use the, I don't want to use a header text because that'll show up in the table of contents. So we don't want to do that. So we're just going to do some manual style overriding on some stuff here. There's that. And let's go ahead and also do a manual style on the character. Let's see what it would look like with it's embossed, engraved. Not too bad. So what this is going to do is it's going to give us a look that almost 3D, but not quite. So let me zoom in a little bit. So it just has a very, very faint outline. It's very, very subtle. So something like that will actually work for me. It's right about centered on the page. I'm going to want to actually measure it out, but it does actually look pretty centered on the page there. So that's our title. We have a blank page so that we can start on a right-hand page here. So if I check over here, that's a right page. And then everything is good. Okay, so the only two things left is I'm not sold on this guy. Let's boot up our character map and see if we can find something better for that. What I'd like to be able to see is, now we're using this on the, either one of these two. We're using one of these two on the ebook for the section dividers. Maybe I actually just do that for a section divider. Gonna see if there's anything else in here that would look good as one thing or the other. That would actually make section dividers really easy. So we're using this one right now, which I initially liked, but I don't really like it much after looking at it for a while. Let's see how does... I want to find a better section divider. So I'd kind of like to have maybe as like a dot. Let's see if we can find a character dot that'll work well. I want to do some research. ASCII character dot. We're just kind of doing general research right now. I want to find like a centered dot. Okay. The question is, can I pull this guy off? Let's see. Some text documents you can actually use the Alt keys. Some you can't. I'm wondering if I can access this guy under a usual. That's a control character, though. I'll have to think about that. Okay, not sure about that one. Okay, I'll have to research that. Sadness, sadness. All right, let's see if there's anything else I needed to do. All right, so 2 things left to do. Number 1, find a better solution for this rather than this guy. Number 2, find me a good chapter divider. So I'll spend a little bit of time on the clip art site, see if I can't find something that's good for commercial use for that. And then get something on the dot here. And then I think all I need to do then is just get the final edits in. And this guy then should be pretty much good to go. So I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and wrap this video up here because I can smell that my chicken is about done cooking. And we'll come along and next week we'll probably be looking at the book cover and I'll kind of show you what I did on finalizing all this. So thanks for hanging out, everybody, and we will catch you guys on the next live show. We'll try and do another one of these live next week when we'll look at some cover design stuff. So with that, thanks for hanging out, everybody, and we will catch you next time.